The film opens with a man entering a church, but he's not there to pray. He's there to meet the priest. Upon meeting, the man confesses to numerous killings, starting from when he was just 7 years old. The priest offers forgiveness through repentance, but the man's true intent is to murder the priest. Swiftly, he locks the priest in a room, takes his life, and sets the room ablaze. This man is Loreno, a highly respected hitman in the criminal underworld who has just received a contract to eliminate the priest. 8 days later, Loreno embarks on a journey to Thailand, summoned by his friend. After a long trip, he reaches his friend Seaton's house deep in the forest. Seaton explains that a few months ago, the Mafia boss in Thailand killed his son and wife. Since then, Seaton has chosen a life of isolation, living far away from civilization. Seaton approaches Loreno with a solemn request to eliminate the Mafia boss, Tar, and his accomplice, Melissa, who were responsible for the tragic loss of Seaton's family. Melissa had played a part in the terrible events by aiding Tar in his criminal actions. Seaton is desperate for revenge and is willing to pay whatever Loreno asks. Loreno agrees to take on the job, but he makes it clear that this will be his final mission before retiring from his life as a hitman. Seaton cautions Loreno about the dangers ahead, emphasizing that Tar is a powerful Mafia boss with a formidable group of henchmen. Seaton plans to send someone to accompany Loreno on his mission, but for a skilled hitman like Loreno, this challenge is no different from hitmen might face. The scene shifts to Tar, a ruthless man who is using torture to obtain someone's land. When he desires the land and the owner refuses to give it up willingly, Tar and his gang will subject the person to brutal torture. They torture the victim until the victim eventually agrees to hand over their land without any compensation. Meanwhile, Loreno has reached the city with Melissa as a new target, and he heads straight to the nightclub where Melissa is employed. Upon his arrival, Loreno closely observes Melissa's movements. As she prepares to leave, Loreno approaches her while riding in a rickshaw. Loreno tries to convince Melissa to go with him, claiming to have a strong interest in her. However, Melissa declines, fearing her boyfriend's anger if he finds out. The rickshaw driver, secretly sent by Seaton to assist Loreno, steps in and persuades Melissa by falsely presenting Loreno as a wealthy man. After some negotiation, Melissa agrees to accompany Loreno, but she demands a payment of $1 million, which he accepts. Upon reaching Melissa's house, Loreno is taken to her room. Unbeknownst to them, one of Tar's henchmen is spying on Loreno from a distance. While in the room, Loreno requests to use the bathroom. However, Melissa discovers a photo of herself in Loreno's jacket pocket, realizing he is there to target her. When Loreno returns, Melissa screams and he attempts to silence her. Suddenly, one of Tar's henchmen, who had been observing Loreno, attacks him. Despite his smaller size, Loreno manages to defeat Tar's henchmen, but unfortunately, Melissa escapes. Loreno acts quickly and contacts the rickshaw driver, Alex, who is Seaton's messenger, to pick him up. He is taken to Alex's house on the outskirts of the city. There, Alex inquires about what happened, and Loreno explains that he failed to eliminate Melissa because he was unexpectedly attacked by one of Tar's henchmen. Although he managed to defeat the henchman, Melissa escaped. Alex becomes worried, knowing that Melissa might report everything to Tar, putting them in danger. Loreno reassures Alex and asks for a few hours of rest to handle the situation. The scene shifts to Tar, who is furious upon hearing Melissa's complaints. He scolds her for being tempted by another man. Melissa clarifies that she was intoxicated and unaware of what was happening. All she knew was that a foreign man was about to harm her. Tar immediately orders his trusted associate to gather information from the scene. Not long after, Albert, Tar's right-hand man, and some of his henchmen begin gathering information near Melissa's house. They try asking the neighbors, but nobody knows anything. However, Albert notices a young boy who runs away upon seeing him. He chases the boy into his house and persuades him to share what he knows while offering a reward. The boy shows them a photo on his phone, which is a picture of Alex. It turns out that when Alex picked up Loreno earlier, the boy secretly took a photo of him. The boy explains that Alex had picked up a foreign man at Melisa's house. At the same time, two of Albert's henchmen recognize Alex as a former street fighter and know where his house is. That evening, Loreno and Alex go to an underground fighting arena on top of a building. Loreno intends to meet his old friend, Paul, who is the boss of the underground fighting event. Not long after, Paul invites Loreno to talk in his office. In his office, Loreno explains that he needs Paul's help to track down Tar and Melissa, because he's been assigned to eliminate them both. Loreno hopes that Paul can assist him and provide information on Tar's whereabouts. Paul then mentions that Tar is no ordinary person, and it won't be easy to take him down. However, he promises to try and gather information about Tar's location for Loreno. After that, Loreno expresses his gratitude and leaves with Alex. A few hours later, Alex returns to his house after dropping Loreno off at a hotel. To his shock, he discovers that Tar's henchmen have killed his grandmother. Suddenly, 3 of Tar's henchmen attack Alex, resulting in a violent fight. Despite being outnumbered, Alex, as a former fighter, defeats all 3 of them. However, Albert and 2 more henchmen arrive, and Alex eventually loses consciousness. When Alex wakes up, he finds himself tied up and facing Tar. He started to interrogate Alex about the foreign man who attacked Melissa. Alex, determined not to reveal any information, endures brutal torture, even passing out at one point. Tar then orders his right-hand man to access Alex's phone and gather information about the foreign man from the last call on his phone. Not long after, they manage to contact Loreno through a video call using Alex's phone. With Tar threatens to hunt down Loreno and warns that Alex will also be eliminated. Hearing that, Loreno appears fearless and even challenges Tar's back. Tar then instructs his right-hand man to dispose of Alex by throwing him into the river. However, Alex survives the ordeal and eventually makes his way to Loreno's hotel. When Alex arrived at Loreno's room, he was in terrible shape with many injuries. Loreno did his best to help Alex using the limited medical supplies he had. After tending to his wounds, Loreno asked what had happened. Alex then shared a horrifying story about how Tar had killed his grandmother and tortured him. Eventually, they threw him into a river, but he miraculously survived and made it to Loreno's place. But Loreno was worried that this might be a trap. As they left the room, they noticed that some of Tar's henchmen were already at the hotel, following Alex. Loreno managed to get Alex outside, but there were still more of Tar's henchmen guarding the area. Reluctantly, Loreno had to fight them all. Thankfully, it didn't take long for Loreno to defeat them, and he took Alex to Paul's private residence. Upon reaching Paul's place, Loreno asked him to call a doctor for Alex. The doctor arrived shortly and started treating Alex's injuries. Sadly, despite the doctor's best efforts, Alex couldn't survive due to his severe injuries and heavy bleeding. Witnessing this, Loreno became even more determined to seek revenge against Tar, vowing to eliminate him within the week. The following day, Loreno met with Seaton to share the sad news of Alex passing the previous night. Despite the loss, Loreno remained determined to take down Tar and Melissa. Seaton felt that Loreno couldn't do it alone, so he decided to join Loreno in his mission. Loreno agreed, and together they went to visit Paul's house. Upon their arrival, Paul revealed his plan to set a trap for Tar. Tomorrow night, Tar would attend a large underground fighting event because he had placed a big bet on it. Loreno and Seaton would confront Tar there, while Paul would handle Tar's henchmen. They all agreed, and Loreno would head to the location at midnight the following day. The next evening, Tar was seen at the underground fighting event, accompanied by Melissa. Soon after, Paul approached Tar, and they seemed to be getting along well. Tar even invited Paul to join him for a nightclub party after the event, but Paul declined, the invitation citing not feeling well. At midnight, Loreno, Seaton, and one of their henchmen arrived at the underground fighting place. But as they reached the parking area, they were immediately attacked by the guards stationed there. Fortunately, Loreno managed to defeat all of them. During the attack, one of Seaton's henchmen lost his life, and Seaton himself got shot. Loreno persuaded Seaton to come with him to the underground fighting arena. However, when they arrived, they found it empty, except for an elderly woman cleaning up. She informed them that the event had ended 2 hours ago. At that moment, Loreno realized he had been set up by Paul, who had been working with Tar. With burning anger, Loreno and Seaton hurried to confront Paul. But as they reached the parking area, Tar's henchmen ambushed Loreno's car, riddling it with bullets. Sadly, Seaton didn't make it, and he died in the car. Fortunately, Loreno managed to escape. Shortly after, it showed Paul getting ready to sleep. Out of nowhere, Loreno appeared, aiming a gun at him. Loreno never expected Paul to betray him, leading to the deaths of Alex and Seaton. Paul admitted that he did it all for money, revealing that Tar was actually his business partner. Loreno then demanded Paul to take him to Tar Place, or else he'd harm Paul. Reluctantly, Paul led Loreno to the nightclub where Tar was partying. Upon arrival, Paul unexpectedly turned on Loreno and tried to attack him. With no other choice, Loreno had to defend himself and eliminate Paul. Afterward, he entered the nightclub to find Tar. Inside, Loreno confronted Tar's right-hand man, leading to a violent showdown. Eventually, Loreno managed to defeat the man, and he entered the VIP room and confronted the other Tar's henchmen. Acting swiftly, Loreno gunned them down, leaving only one survivor trembling in fear. The frightened survivor then revealed that Tar and Melissa were in the karaoke room. Without hesitation, Loreno proceeded to karaoke room and swiftly eliminated Tar and Melissa, completing his mission. Several days later, Loreno stayed at Seaton's house. Shortly after, he was approached by a woman who turned out to be Seaton's cousin. She intended to give Loreno a suitcase full of money, a gift from the late Seaton. She explained that before Seaton left for the city, he instructed her to give all the money to Loreno if he didn't return. The money was a reward for Loreno's successful revenge on Tar and Melissa. The following day, Loreno went hunting in the forest. During a break, he was accidentally shot by a young boy who was hunting with his father. Tragically, Loreno died from the unintended gunshot wound. Moral lesson from the story: never trust a friend who skips a party for money, and never go hunting in a forest where you've just finished your killing missions.